So I'm here again to bore you on the same topic, which I'm calling the next big thing. And we are going to touch upon why exactly we are calling it the next big thing. And we'll also touch upon the newest member of the family, that's family of AI, that is generative AI, that everyone has already spoken about. But I'll try to touch upon some of the, let's say, other aspects of Gen AI. But before that, before we jump into the topic, I want you to watch a short video, something that was captured on a football field in Scotland, which created a lot of noise. And I want you to see it and tell me if you find anything weird in this video. Anything? I think some of you might have already watched it because this is a popular one. Well, I'll tell you what is happening. So the camera that is capturing the football match has one job to do, that keep the focus on the football. And it's an AI-driven camera which has been trained on the football matches, the video of football matches before. So instead of focusing on the football, it's focusing on the lineman's head. It's basically confusing lineman's head with the football. And when this thing was uploaded, this video clip was uploaded on social media, on YouTube, it created a lot of buzz. It simply went viral, within hours. And a lot of people started pouring in their comments saying that, oh, how stupid AI can be, right? And this was exactly 2020 October, right? Just a couple of years ago. And now, just let's say 2 years after that, people now, today, they're talking about why AI is impacting job, in different industries. So anything that you can think of that, has changed in the last couple of years. So we'll talk about that. The answer to that lies in the history. So I'm going to be briefly touching upon the history. So when the baby AI was created around 1950, we are also, we called it, let's say, perceptron. It created a lot of popularity, among, let's say, the research community, all the mathematicians, data scientists, or let's say the scientists then, they wanted to get their hands dirty on this particular piece of algorithm. And after some point, they realized that, it's not a simple job because they had to have a very, let's say, high-powered computer because it was a very, let's say, complex algorithm. So what did they do? They stopped working on it because, again, they could not afford it. And then the AI simply slipped into the AI winter, that particular phase. And people who don't know what AI winter is, it's basically a period which is called AI winter for not much, has been developed in that field. The level of interest literally dropped. But then again, AI picked up, pace during the World War II, when some enemy countries wanted to decrypt the messages sent from one army base to the other. And you can see the peak again. And again, when they saw that, this thing can be successfully used, other research communities also started jumping into it and trying their hands. And right after that, you can see a drop once again. That is called the second AI winter. Again, no new developments happened. The level of interest, again, drastically reduced for obvious reasons that people could not afford it. We did not have, high-powered computing systems then. But something changed around 1990s when Apple introduced, a laptop which had good memory, RAM, and also storage. And then from then on, we had too many technological developments. For example, introduction of big data ecosystem, distributed file systems, to be specific, and also cloud data storage. And the laptops that we are carrying today, they themselves, carry GPUs within them. So the computation power literally changed. And now it's safe to say that, AI is going to see an upward trend. Looking at some of the factors, and this is not me, this is basically a lot of, leading researchers are talking about. It's because of technological advancements, so something that I just mentioned. Then academic research, the number of research papers that are getting, let's say, published every year is tremendous. Industry investments, companies like, that I'm working on, they are setting a budget aside for the R&D team to work on, let's say, AI-driven products to develop or to adopt AI in their day-to-day work. Government support, definitely government is all of a sudden interested, not just, Western countries, but also in India, they want to adopt AI as fast as possible. And then public awareness. I think I don't have to talk about that. Even kids know how to use ChatGPT to get their homework done, right? So Let me give you a very quick example. So since I come from the reinsurance industry, I want to touch upon how exactly this generative AI has transformed underwriting systems. So I would like to keep it very simple. It might look like an oversimplification of an underwriting process, so underwriters in the room, please forgive me for that. This is just for everyone's understanding. So how exactly an underwriting process works? We receive a bunch of documents, let's say hundreds of documents around different risks, different entities that we are going to write business with. And then underwriters, they manually go through each and every document, line by line, page by page. And then they list out all the risks that they identify, and then based on that, they take a decision whether or not to proceed with this contract. Well, this was changed around 6-7 years ago when we introduced traditional machine learning models. And what exactly these traditional machine learning models did, they took this unstructured part of documents and they started extracting entities out of them, right? Entity extraction model, and then started classifying them into the right category. So now instead of long list of documents, unstructured documents, underwriters had, let's say, a nice tabular looking, in the form of rows and columns, summarized information for them to take the decision quickly. So it, to a certain extent, complemented the work that they were doing. But there was still a large gap that could not be filled by, let's say, these traditional machine learning model, and to be specific, the natural language processing models. So the traditional NLPs were good at extracting entities that are, let's say, already there in the data, explicitly mentioned, but they were not really good at extracting information which is implicitly mentioned. And that was the gap, which was we had to fill. And now, talking about Swiss Re, as I talk, there's a bunch of data scientists and data engineers sitting at the office just a few kilometers away, and they're trying to run a POC on the generative AI, where they're trying to basically feed all the documents that are currently being read by underwriters, and then they're trying to get the answers in, let's say, the desired format, the one that underwriters would want to take a look at. So looking at the early results, let's say something that I just watched yesterday, I can say that probably we will have a solution in place sooner. And if we have that productionized, then underwriters are going to have a very nice friend in the form of, let's say, an AI advisor sitting right next to them, and then reading all their materials, going through all the, let's say, the documents that they have to read, and then giving them some smart answers based on the questions that we would ask. The prompt engineering is what is going to take care of that. So with that, I would like to go to the next slide and say whatever that I've talked about. It's safe to say that AI is here to stay. But there is also a negative sentiment around this topic, where some people in market, they are saying that it's here to take 100 jobs. But there is something that I heard in one of the interviews, and it stuck with me, and I want to basically share it with you guys so that you can take it as a key takeaway if you want to. So the person said, I'm not going to name him, so he said that AI is here to take 100 jobs. That's true, but we should also keep in mind that it's here to make 100 people 100 times more productive. So with that, I'd like to close the presentation. Thank you, everyone.